Hey, how's it going? Lipnos here. So, I played Ruiner about a week ago, and I figured I'd put together a short video, just kind of put my thoughts together on the things I liked about the game, um, and just to kind of, I don't know, let people know what I thought about it. If you haven't played the game, I'm not going to be going into any of the story stuff to avoid any spoilers or any of that stuff. I will be going into a few mechanics, so you can always dip out of that part if you really don't want to know anything about mechanics. But I'll do my best to avoid any of the story stuff so that you can, if you plan to play it, you can kind of go in without any spoilers and just kind of go in with a fresh experience. So yeah, let's get to it. So Ruiner is a top-down shooter. It was released in September 2017. It was released on Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Linux as well, if you're someone who games on Linux. There's also a Switch release planned. I don't know what the release date is. I just kind of went to the developer's website and they mentioned there's a Switch release planned. So the engine that they used was Unreal 4. So the game is developed by Raycon Games and published by Devolver Digital. It's rated mature 17 plus. Definitely deserve its rating, I think. A lot of swearing, a lot of mature theme. I really like that actually about the game. So let's talk about Raycon Games for a little bit. So they're actually an indie game dev studio out of Warsaw, Poland. And Ruiner was their first game, which I'm pretty surprised with, just with the overall quality of the game. The quality of the game was pretty high. So they're also currently working on a first-person perspective co-op experience. Don't know what that's going to be, but I'm looking forward to hearing about it in the future. So as mentioned, I played Ruiner about a week ago. I played it on the hardest difficulty, which is hard. I started on the hardest difficulty. I didn't know anything about the game at all. I pretty much the only stuff that I looked up was like the stuff that was on the store page. Speaking of the store page, I picked it up for free on the Epic Game Store, and like, wow, what a pickup for something that was free. I was very pleased with the game. So it took me about 5 hours to get through the game. Now, you could say that those 5 hours were not for the full content of the game. I didn't do any side quests. I didn't do any new game plus. There's also a new game plus that you can do afterwards. With I think you keep all of your XP and all of your skills, and you can transfer that through into new game plus. I did not do that. So there's also a couple other features, like there's a speedrun feature which cuts out all the cutscenes. It cuts out what else? Cutscenes, dialogue, the city hub that there is. There's a little town, little city. So it cuts all that out for a speed run. And then there's also an arena mode, which you kind of just fight off against a whole bunch of enemies. And I think it's infinite scaling. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to play it, but with all that put together, you're probably looking at least, you can probably get at least 10 hours of content out of this game, if not more, for sure. So if you're looking for a challenge, like if you're someone who plays video games that really enjoys a challenge, that doesn't mind dying and learning and improving as they play the game, I do suggest you play it on hard. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to really get used to it. I died a lot in the first 45 minutes, I would say. And that's about when I started to learn how to play properly, I would say, how to use my dashes properly. I also switched to primarily using melee weapons as well. And I speaking of melee weapons, I really enjoyed the melee weapons. They're actually a lot of fun, just being able to dash around all over the place. I'll make sure to put some gameplay footage in the background as well, so you guys can kind of take a look and see what I'm talking about. So the dashing felt very good. It kind of exemplified the fast-paced gameplay that Ruiner brings to the table. It's very fast-paced, a lot of action, it really has you switching between guns and melee for certain enemies, like depending on what you're fighting and depending on the situation, you're going to want to swap between the two. If I have any suggestions, if you're kind of like when you're going through and building out your build, so these talents, there's quite a few talents. Some of them do replace the same hotkey, if you will, like space or shift, or so there might, so you do have to choose. So it's not really a skill tree necessarily. It's more like a very linear progression, and it goes down the list. So you start at the top and you unlock the skill, for example, dash, and then your next point is something like, oh, and you get 1 extra dash. So that kind of stuff. So basically it just improves the skill. Now these skills, some of them have, like, there might be 2 or 3 of them in the same category, and you can only have 1 of them at any point in time, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure there, but I think you only have 1 of them at any time. So it kind of forces you into a little bit of a choice, which is nice. Having that choice is nice. That being said, the main thing that I would suggest is just max out dashing and max out the one that gives you more health and energy, and you're good to go. Having maxed out dashing, you're zipping around all over the place. You're just going left and right. You're going all over the place, and it's actually really fun. Other than that, just when you play the game, you'll notice immediately that the game feels very responsive. You don't really get locked into any animations. Like, there's a lot of games where you'll go and you'll do an attack and you'll go to swing, but then you're like, oh crap, halfway through the swing, you want to be like, no, I'm about to get hit. I need to roll out of this, or I need to move, I need to dash away. And a lot of games just don't let you, that you have to finish that full animation, and so you kind of get caught. So I don't know if there's animation canceling in RUINER, but it just feels really responsive. Every time I want to dash, it just immediately dashes, and it just felt very crisp. The gameplay felt very good. I played it on PC, by the way, so I played it with keyboard and a mouse. It felt very good. The only thing that I was a bit concerned with was originally, so the dashing is based on your movement direction. So if you're on WASD, so keyboard, then you can really only dash in 8 directions, right? So up, down, left, right, and then all of the in-betweens. So you can kind of only dash in 8 directions. Originally, I would have liked the dash to have been based on mouse direction. I think that could have given me a little bit more control. I did get used to it. Like I said, after about an hour, I got used to the dashing, and I was able to figure out certain techniques to be able to kind of dash through enemies back and forth and hit them at the same time to get a lot of damage in while keeping yourself safe and dodging most of their attacks. So overall, it was okay. I still would have liked the option to be able to switch it from just using the keyboard directions as you're dashing to using the mouse direction as dashing. But it's okay. Overall, I think that was pretty much my only thing. Other than that, I would suggest, if you can, I didn't look because I didn't really rebind it, but the default binding for switching between your weapon and your melee is scroll wheel. You're going to be doing that quite a bit, so I would suggest maybe binding it to just a quick access key instead of scroll wheel. It just something quick that you can quickly access and swap between them in mid fight when things kind of get a little crazy. So speaking of the weapons, there's only 2 basically weapon slots. You have melee and firearm, and that's it. That's all you get. So you don't have like 18 weapons. What it is you have your firearm and your melee, and then when you go throughout the game, sometimes enemies will drop weapons. There are other ways of getting weapons as well, such as in crates and stuff like that, but I'll let you play the game and see that for yourself. So when enemies die, you might be able to pick up a weapon. So when you pick up that weapon, whether it's melee or a firearm, it has a certain amount of ammo if it's a firearm, and once its ammo is depleted, that weapon is gone. So then you go back to your default weapon, which is almost like an Uzi. It's just kind of like a light submachine gun or something like that. And your melee is the same thing. If you pick up a melee weapon, it has a certain amount of durability, which is kind of like charges. So there's only so many times you can hit an enemy with it. You can increase the ammo count, I believe, and the durability count through talents. So if that's something to look at when you're playing the game, maybe if you really like certain weapons that you pick up, then you might want to take a look at those talents. Other than that, I thought that the weapon system was actually very good for the kind of game it is. It's very fast paced. It kind of has you not dwelling on things that you pick up and just kind of like, you see something drop, pick it up, dump out the ammo, just like empty that ammo, go crazy with it, and then, discard it and then keep going. It didn't feel too simplistic for the gameplay, to be completely honest. It felt nice overall, and I've actually no complaints with the weapon system whatsoever. So let's talk about one of the things I actually like the most about this game, and that's the visuals and the audio. The visuals and the audio are amazing. They like the 2D art mixes so well with the 3D art. It looks so good. And then on top of that, they have these amazing cutscenes, which for an indie studio, like, I was surprised at the quality of them. They weren't super long, obviously, but they were good. Like, they were really good. Yeah, so I definitely don't skip them. If you're playing through the game and you normally skip cutscenes, don't skip them. They're really good. The story of the game, I'm not really going to go into details of the story. I thought it was pretty neat. It was a nice little story. It kind of intrigued me into potentially doing some more side quests and maybe digging in a little bit deeper into the story, into the world. Speaking of the world, there is this hub that you kind of go back to almost between missions, and this hub kind of sets you into like it kind of grounds you, and gives you an idea of what this world is, and it's quite nice. It's not super small either. It's got a little bit of room for you to run around and talk, because you can talk to NPCs, talk to people. I think you can get side quests there and do side quests and stuff like that. I didn't really explore that avenue, but if you do play the game, I do suggest kind of take your time and go through and do that as well. So overall, yeah, the music as well. The music as well was very, very good. I thought that the music that they picked, along with the audio design that they did for all of the effects and ambient sounds, just everything worked very, very well together, on top of the visuals, of course. So here's a clip from my gameplay, so you can kind of just get a feel for it. Grab the HP real quick. Pick up this gun. Nice. Okay. Ooh, this guy's fast as hell. Beautiful. Alright, we got it. Very nice, level up. So I think that's pretty much all I gotta say. Overall, I thought it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I don't tend to play that many top-down shooters, and this was really fun. If you're someone who really enjoys top-down shooters, cyberpunk stuff, if you enjoy fast-paced gameplay with a bit of a challenge, then yeah, I definitely suggest picking up RUINER. I mean, I got it for free on Epic, but hey, you know, if you can afford it, there's supposedly a Switch release coming. If you really want it on Switch, you can wait till then. If not, pick it up on sale. Hey man, we got Christmas sales coming up. I'm sure it's gonna go on sale at some point. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about RUINER. And until next time, thanks for watching.